Welcome back to another episode of Cape Ann Today. I am with Ethan Forman all by himself today from the Gloucester Times because Stephen Hagan is covering a fire in Rockport. Tell us about that, Ethan.
Yeah, well, last night I was at the I was in a meeting at Gloucester City Hall. When I got out of the meeting, I wound up getting a text from a friend who said there's a fire in Rockport on Phillips Ave. So I I raced up there. I had trouble finding it, but it was a fire, a three-alarm fire at 74 Phillips Avenue. And apparently, what happened was a policeman and a Good Samaritan were able to get two elderly occupants from the residence. This, according to the Rockport Fire Department. They were taken to the hospital, and they had non-life-threatening injuries. So that's a good thing. It's a kind of a crazy fire scene. A lot of fire trucks down this very small road. Um, like I said, I got lost trying to find it.
It's a web.
Uh,
Yeah.
it was bitter cold, so those guys were out in the bitter guys and gals were out in the bitter cold. And so they struck a third alarm, and we had crews from Gloucester, Essex, Manchester, and Hamilton went to the scene. Wenham, Beverly, and Ipswich provided staging coverage, and they knocked the fire down about 8:15. When I got there, the fire was out. So sort of the immediacy of the scene had sort of died down. They got Rockport's engine 2, 3, ladder 1. Ladder 1 was extended over the house, so always interesting to see. And there was the combination A was there also as well. Rehab 5 from Peabody, Rogers Baker Rehab 5 provides rehabilitation services to firefighters. Was also there as well. Fire Marshal's office is investigating, so quite a bit of excitement in Rockport. And hopefully the couple is okay. Good Samaritan and the police officer are okay. And yeah, well, yeah, it's quite something. That happened on Wednesday night. I learned about 7:30 and come from a meeting in Gloucester City Hall, and just went up there just to see what was it all about.
Mm. And frigid temperatures, as you said.
Freezing, freezing.
So
Yeah,
are you sort of implying that the people inside the home didn't know the fire was happening and the cement?
no, not at all. I mean, it's just like there was some, what happens in these instances, someone sees smoke and they knock on the door. So I don't know to what extent, at all, what, if they knew and didn't know, or if they were having trouble, or whatever. But
Right.
very brave of the officer and a Good Samaritan to go by, and resulting in uh pretty minor injuries. It's great.
Yeah. And how about the structure? How did it
House
fare?
looks to my eyes, the house looks like it was uh salvageable. I couldn't see, I from the street couldn't see um fire damage, but I think Steve, who's working on the story, said a lot of the damage is on the side.
Mm.
So that's yeah. So hopefully the house can be saved and the couple can get back in. So let's knock on wood.
Well, you were late to this appointment because you were at the Sawyer Free Library and you were having a discussion about their new timeline, right?
Yeah, it's really interesting now. Even though the 400 anniversary is over, there's still going to be one more event as the 400 Stories project and the book rolls out. And there's part of that was a timeline of Gloucester history, not just from 1923 to 2023, not just from 1623 to 2023, but an entire timeline of Gloucester. The historian at the Story Free Library, Julie Tavares, is historian of the library, is heading this project up, has been heading this project up, and it's about to go live probably next week in conjunction with an event on the 31st at the Beauport. So that's going to be exciting to sort of wrap up, put a finishing touch, put a bow on the Gloucester 400. And so we'll be doing a story about in the coming days about this really excellent project. I think if you're trying to find something out, this is a great resource to, I want to research the old town hall. when was it built? There's many different ways to access this information. And so it's really quite an effort. It was based on a book called The Gloucester Timeline that came out in 2000, about 2000, by Mary Ray. And that's what Julie kind of based this project on. And anyway, so that I think I'll be using it as a research project. And it was done in conjunction with the Cape Ann Museum, the archivist there, and also the city archives. Volunteers from the city archives as well worked on this
Mm.
project. So quite daunting, quite multimedia, quite online, and won't stop in 2023. People will be able to add things to it, and so hopefully it'll be a living timeline of Gloucester.
Very cool. Well, I look forward to reading that story. I know last week we talked about flooding, and it happened again this weekend. So, what were you seeing?
Yeah, well, I unfortunately wasn't able to get up to Gloucester, but if you looked at Facebook, you could see that there was flooding. It was there was that overnight rain, and then the tide came in, and just a lot of mayhem happened in a very short period of time. There was a fire at motif number one. There was
What?
during this. Yeah,
I
yep.
missed.
There was a fire, and yep, and also Tux Point took a direct hit, and Manchester got a lot of storm damage. Um, there was road closures on Saturday afternoon all around Gloucester. I mean, I think the usual places got flooded. Essex Avenue was one of the places where it got flooded. The wastewater treatment plant's wall has a new wall, so that was saved from any flooding, thank God. But there were pictures, you look all over social media. Commercial Street at St. Peter's Square was flooded. There were the floats at Dunfudgeon. They had these floats, and the pilings are like, I don't know, 6 feet or 8 feet tall. Well, however tall they are, they had floated off. The tide was so high. So I-4C2 lot became a little mini lake again. So it was Good Harbor Beach was flooded. It was It's incredible. I mean, you talk about these resiliency events and global warming. Now, I've got, but it's like two major flooding events. Maritime Gloucester got hit pretty hard too. Their docks were underwater again,
You know,
and that forced them to have a few days of closure.
I
So
found this really mysterious because we had a bit of a storm, but it wasn't anything that compared to some of the storms I've seen, it wasn't that violent. And it's a new moon. Usually we have these high tides with a full moon. So it's really strange.
yeah, I don't know. It's like I wasn't expecting it, but again, when you have these storms and you have the wave action,
Mhm.
it could be offshore, so that maybe we don't think it's as bad a storm here, but we did have a lot of wind and a lot of wave action, and then the tide came in, and yeah, it turned Commercial Street into a little mini lake. And there was a social media post of somebody kayaking around the parking lot there. So I don't know. Resiliency is a big thing. Now I'm told that a lot of the fishing businesses, the fishing industry is smart, and all their mechanicals are up off the ground, so the water goes out and they don't get wiped out. But I'm sure there's a lot of damage. And
I know in Salem there was a lot of damage around the
yeah,
Willows.
a seawall broke. They have a seawall, and at least one house is uninhabitable.
Yeah, yeah. I
The
think
100-year-old seawall.
it's amazing. Well, you also wrote a really interesting story this week about the Friends of the Council on Aging. Do you want to tell us more?
Yeah, it's kind of sad. There's Friends of the Council on Aging. I had the pleasure just to duck my head in a couple years ago, at the end of 2022. They had done a book profiling 28 seniors in the community. And it was a big event. Senator Tarr was there, Mayor was there, Margaret Ferrante at the Gloucester House. So you would think that the organization would carry on, but um, uh, for reasons I'm not really clear about, they have decided to disband and turn their assets over to the city. It was a long time project, the Friends of the Council on Aging, to support the seniors at the Rose Baker Senior Center and the seniors in the city. And they did a lot of good work, a lot of projects, probably too numerous for me to mention here. if you go look on their website, you can see all the good work that they did, raised a ton of money, helped raise money for the Rose Baker Senior Center itself. And so hats off to that group. Like maybe they felt it was time, and they had done their work, and now the ball is being picked up by the city and the Council on Aging to provide for programs for the seniors. And the senior center does a great job. City's just put about $1 million into the senior center itself, from a new roof. They're doing a new computer lab, Wi-Fi there, so seniors can get online, and if they need help in their Shine appointments, they can get better access there. So hopefully this won't mean too much. But again, hats off to the friends and Howard Frisch, who led the group for 35 years. So yeah.
Hmm. So it was basically a fundraising entity for the Council on Aging.
Yeah, and that's how a lot of groups work, friends of,
Right.
So I mean, you can still give to the senior center
Mhm.
or to the Council on Aging. You can still make donations. You want to support the seniors. I think in the end, what's important isn't a group, in my opinion. It's supporting seniors, and as they get older, and providing them a really great place and resource to go hang out, get a meal, and not be alone. And that's a great asset to Gloucester.
Yeah, it really is. Particularly the social part. It's so important. Yeah. All right. Well, I look forward to reading your timeline story. And you got anything else coming up next week?
Yeah, last night I was at that meeting in the city hall, looking at the East Gloucester site. What's going to go on there? They're planning to build a nice grass soccer field, under 10 soccer field, U10 soccer field, and a grassy area playground. So, and the neighbors seem to like one of the concepts, put forward at the meeting. So we're going to be writing about that.
Good, good. All right. Well, stay away from the flooding, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
All right, Heather, stay dry.
Thank you. Bye. Interested in a sponsorship? Email sponsor@1623studios.org to learn more.